Hey everyone, Gheeotine here. Before the review, a quick channel announcement. Starting with this video, and with every video released until I run out of codes, I'll be giving away a free Steam game. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a video. To enter, just leave a comment that wouldn't violate Twitter's terms of service. That's it. Winners will be randomly drawn a week after a video is published, and publicly announced with the following video. A list of available games will be in the description. One more thing, winning a game will not exclude you from the chance of winning again in the future. Thank you for your time, and now on with the video. I'm playing something almost every week, and sometimes I want to talk about it and give you a vertical slice. So stick with me for some lightning reviews. This week, on the chopping block. This week I've been playing... Sometimes to deal with the difficulty of being alive, I need to believe there is a possibility that life is not real. Yes, that is the full title, and I'm not going to recite the full thing anymore. I'm just going to refer to it as The Game, or Carl. To give some glance behind the curtain about the thought processes that determine what game I'm going to be playing, I find it's often determinant of my surroundings. I YouTube as a hobby and have a full-time job that occupies most of my time otherwise. That being said, the time I have to spend playing video games is occasionally a rare commodity. Hence, this week I'm reviewing a very short title. After playing Digimon Survive last week, I was left not knowing what I wanted to play. Fortunately, a friend of mine who's also a graphics artist who occasionally does my thumbnails told me about Carl. You see, I'm occasionally attracted to the weird or unorthodox, and one can understand the unorthodoxy of a video game title being abnormally long simply because that makes the game difficult to market. Another game with that issue that I ended up enjoying in the past was, get ready for this one, Holy Invasion of Privacy, Badman. What Did I Do to Deserve This, My Lord 2 on the PSP. Yes, that is real. But anyway, back to Carl. Carl is a mixture of several things, and all of them come together in a weird amalgamation of jarring visuals and fairly simple gameplay. The game starts in a third-person view of a humanoid alien-looking creature, and you are then able to explore a miniature sandbox, which is basically a couple acres surrounding a pond. You can see most of the sandbox inside 5 minutes, and as you do, you'll come across a couple hubs which will ask you if you want to experience assorted sub-games. Well, 3 games in a mode where you press a button, you zoom in on a section of some giant tower, observing the mutant-looking masses toil, while text boxes and some philosophical point or observation about the world pop up, and you'll find that those text boxes become increasingly prevalent as you explore other modes. Speaking of which, there's a very brief and very insubstantial shooting minigame. There's a third-person walking simulator where you play as a giant slice of pizza. There's a 2D platformer with some text in the background that tells a brief story as you navigate the level. And there's a first-person walking simulator containing some visuals that were almost the point where I turned off the game, doused my computer in gasoline, and broke out my favorite alcohol to act as brain bleach as I watched the flames dance.
Help me. Please help me.
Excuse me, what?
But then I had a brief thought. If I'm having my sensibilities challenged so much, then there's probably a few things to dissect here. However, after looking at length, this game seems to be one thing first and foremost. It was something made for the sake of the creator. There are a few moments of the game where the creator seems to be speaking directly to the audience, seemingly explaining their rationales behind some of their decisions or why the game looks the way it does. You're effectively looking into a surface-level stream of consciousness. That stream also includes the recounting of rather bizarre dreams, I'm sure we've all been there, fictitious accounts that are laced in metaphors, and general observations about the late-stage capitalistic hell we're entering that's blatantly apparent for anyone who's paying attention. Some of it comes across as potentially pretentious, and the characters and general visual style has a certain lack of polish to it, but that may be intentionally utilized in order to enact a sense of the uncanny. And there's a few layers further to briefly mention. First of all, this game openly advertises itself as something that you can leave idle, similar to a screensaver, so that it can be observed and passively enjoyed in the way that someone might enjoy a fish tank or an ant farm, except filled with computer-generated simulacras of semi-demonic-looking creatures that like to rave. Also, this game has multiplayer. Not that I'm aware what further this game offers in multiplayer, but also I'm kind of scared to try it. Not just for the continued exposure of jarring visuals to discomfort me, but for the fact that, at the time of writing, there are some stability and technical issues. I couldn't get one of the achievements to activate in spite of meeting the supposed requirements, and I did have at least 2 crashes in my playtime. Now, some might interpret my last few paragraphs as overly negative, but that's not my overall impression. In fact, my impression is decidedly neutral.
I have no strong feelings one way or the other.
Gameplay can be boorishly simple at times, and most of the content can be observed within an hour or two. But as I said, this seems to be a game more for the expression of the artist rather than the audience. I also said that this seems to trace the creator's stream of consciousness, and the further critique of such makes it feel like I'm belittling their personality. And quite frankly, I don't want to do that. This game is different. I'll leave it to anyone who's willing to experience it to determine for themselves if it's good or bad. It's only $1, and let's be honest, most people would spend more than that on an ice cream bar for 5 minutes of joy, and the need for an hour on a treadmill to assuage the guilt afterwards. All I'll say for anyone that's willing to try it is go in with no expectations while maintaining an open mind. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go cleanse my palate with some games that I know I'll enjoy.
The next big invention after the internet is the discovery of multiple dimensions. All the web developer jobs dry up while everyone else is having a blast zipping around to other universes. Globally interconnected glowing screens was a pretty dumb idea.